Warriors Steve Kerr gets 100% real on Game 2 adjustments. Heading into Game 2, the Golden State Warriors have the opportunity to be greedy. The Dubs are looking to build on their 1-0 lead over the Houston Rockets after stealing a win on the road in a 95-85 slugfest. But despite the win, it was far from a perfect Warriors game, especially on offense, and head coach Steve Kerr knows that. On 95.7 The Game, Kerr talked about winning the less celebrated stat categories entering Game 2. We can't turn the ball over. That's the biggest thing for me. If we turn it over, their athletes will get free for easy baskets and we can't afford that. We've got to be able to contain them and take away the easy stuff, Kerr said. Fouls and turnovers, those are the things that will hurt us. And obviously, the offensive boards, they are going to get plenty of those. It's all part of the package, so we just have to check as many boxes as possible. Those stats will be key not just in Game 2 but also for the rest of the series. The Rockets dominated the Dubs 22-6 on the offensive boards for 22 second-chance points. Offensive rebounds got Houston back in it after falling behind by 23, so it will be interesting to see how Kerr and company counter Ime Udoka Steven Adams Alperen Sengun lineup. In the same interview, Kerr fielded questions about the Rockets' potential adjustments. I don't expect massive changes from Ime Udoka, they know who they are, Kerr stated. We know they're going to be physical, they're going to defend, and they're going to rebound. I don't think too much will change from that philosophy. As for the other categories Kerr talked about, turnovers weren't a huge problem in Game 1. The Warriors turned the ball over 14 times in Game 1 to Houston's 17, matching their regular season average. But the Warriors ranked 10th among the 16 playoff teams in turnovers per game, and they surrendered 23 points off of turnovers. That makes 55 points from offensive rebounds and turnovers, which is massive in a game where the Rockets only scored 85 points. As for the foul battle, it was 18-15 in favor of Houston, which gave the Rockets 6 more free throw attempts. The Warriors dodged a bullet in this area because Houston went 13-for-20 from the stripe. The foul battle has historically been a losing category for the Kerr-era Warriors. However, with the foul-savvy Jimmy Butler, they stand more of a chance. Butler's capable of getting a team into the bonus all by himself, which he has room to do more of in Game 2. But at the end of the day, it comes down to getting the Rockets to play in the Warriors' style of play. Kerr was adamant about fixing the team's offensive execution. There were some obvious things that we have to improve upon, particularly our offensive execution. You feel good about the win, but you prepare for the force that's coming, Kerr said. We want to run, we're not trying to keep the game under 100 points. Jimmy Butler adds to Heat's regret with stellar Warriors playoff debut. As the Miami Heat dropped the opening game of their first-round playoff matchup against the highly favored Cleveland Cavaliers, a familiar face continues to shine. Jimmy Butler, like he has done ever since his Golden State Warriors arrival, elevated the Dubs to an upset postseason win. The Warriors went into their own first-round series as the 7th seed against the second-best team in the Western Conference this season. Although seeding-wise viewed as an underdog, the championship pedigree of a Stephen Curry, Butler, and Draymond Green trio is a nightmare matchup for the Houston Rockets. They may be quickly rising in the NBA landscape, but the Rockets are young and inexperienced. Both of those notions were on full display during Golden State's Game 1 victory on the road. And to continue pouring salt in the wounds of Heat fans, Butler submitted a classic playoff Jimmy performance. Butler is still capable of stepping up when it matters the most in his age 35 season. And the Heat had the same version of Butler during the first half of the season. He displayed flashes of dominance with Miami earlier, even with the contract extension cloud surrounding him and the team. In an overtime loss to the Detroit Pistons a few months ago, he put up an elite 35/19/10 triple-double for Miami. It was the last true Butler performance as a member of Heat, as the trade reports only got more intense shortly after. In the Warriors' play-in win over the Memphis Grizzlies more recently, he led them with a stellar and efficient 38-point masterclass, willing his new squad into the NBA playoff picture. He added 7 rebounds, 6 assists and 3 steals on 60% shooting in the victory. Regardless of the off-court antics that Butler displayed during the end of his Heat tenure, he is still a playoff riser who assuredly moves the needle on a championship team. And it is no coincidence to see Golden State's 2024-25 campaign with an entirely different trajectory as soon as he came aboard. Instead of his postseason superstardom complementing the growth of all-star Tyler Herro and Bam Adebayo, Butler will have a legit shot at building Curry's legacy with another title. A potential championship would be Curry's 5th ring and Butler's long-overdue first. The likes of playoff Jimmy was able to carry multiple underperforming Heat rosters, as each a 5th and 8th seed, all the way to the NBA Finals. Miami's core during the Butler era was always just one piece away. Now he has that piece and then some playing alongside the greatest shooter of all time. It remains to be seen if he and Curry can get over that hump together. But the one thing certain is that Miami could have used a player of Butler's caliber during this playoff run. Blazers-Warriors trade pitch exposes hard truth Golden State fans won't like. The writing is on the wall for Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors to part ways this offseason. The Warriors made the right call to acquire Jimmy Butler for relatively cheap at the deadline and have a legitimate shot of making the conference finals because of it. However, that deal came at the expense of Kuminga's development. Having Butler, Draymond Green, and Kuminga on the floor together isn't an efficient formula as it shrinks the floor too much, which is especially problematic in Steve Kerr's system, predicated on ball movement and getting shooters open. Bleacher Report's Greg Swartz recently echoed the sentiment, highlighting how far Kuminga has fallen in Golden State's pecking order since the deal. When a team's 22-year-old, third-leading scorer is registering a DNP coach's decision in the biggest games of the season, it might be a sign that a change is coming. Kuminga and the Warriors already failed to agree on a contract extension last fall. With the number 7 overall pick of the 2021 draft now headed into restricted free agency, both parties should be working on a resolution where he gets paid somewhere else, and Golden State receives some talent back in return, wrote Swartz. Swartz proposes a solution where Kuminga, along with Moses Moody, wind up in Portland to help bolster their young core. It comes at the expense of one of the Blazers' best players and someone they should consider trading, Anthony Simons. Kuminga has flaws, as does any 22-year-old player still figuring out his place in the league. But overall, he had a productive 2024-25 season, averaging 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.2 assists on 45/31/67 shooting splits. His poor shooting would be a concerning fit for a Blazers team that has ranked in the bottom 5 in three-point percentage the past 2 seasons. But if Portland were to do this deal, they could target additional shooters to help complement their young core. Moses Moody would also be an underrated addition and help in that department, shooting 37.4% from deep in his 4th season with Golden State. Portland undoubtedly needs to add more shooters as soon as this summer, but a fatal roster flaw that limits their long-term ceiling is their lack of star power. Deni Avdija has emerged as their go-to option, but that's still not enough to compete with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, and Nikola Jokic in the loaded Western Conference. The Blazers are in a unique position in their rebuild after a surprising 36-win season, and there's a sense from general manager Joe Cronin that the playoffs are the expectation going forward. Portland's front office and fans alike are understandably eager to make that next jump, but they can't rush the process. They still need to be taking gambles on high-upside players to elevate their ceiling, and from that standpoint, there may be no better option in terms of value than Kuminga. For the Warriors, Simons would be a seamless fit offensively as one of the most reliable shooters in the league and a 7-year veteran who is better equipped to win now. Despite winning it all in 2022, Golden State's two-timeline approach hasn't gone according to plan, from the James Wiseman selection to Klay Thompson's decline and everything in between. they finally picked a direction by leaning into their veteran experience with the Butler trade, giving Curry and Green a puncher's chance at a fifth title. The fallout from that decision is that Kuminga, their highest upside young player, will likely end up elsewhere this summer. Golden State's young core is unraveling, and the Blazers need to be the ones to capitalize.